So the quarterback situation, there was Ohio State had a scrimmage over the weekend, and when I say he, I'm talking about Julian Sayin, who we both think is still the favorite to win the job. But it sounded like he had a little bit of a rough go of it during the scrimmage. Coaches weren't particularly happy with what he was doing out there, and actually it sounded like Lincoln Kienholz was doing a little, was really picking up the slack.
Yeah.
And, the way it made it seem is that now it's a true two-horse race with Tavian St. Clair, way behind, which, again, we expected. He's a true freshman. He's going to need time to get up to speed. So, and Day even addressed it today, talking specifically about the quarterbacks. And he's not saying anything that's any different from what he has said in years past when there's been a quarterback competition. He's always looking for consistency.
Yep.
And consistency is the big deal for him. And when he was asked about, the quarterbacks just in general, he said, there's been really good progress in that room, all three of them. We're going to keep coaching them, keep pushing them. I think they have the right attitude. I think they have the growth mindset. They need more reps.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, quite honestly, that's just the truth. They all need more reps. None of them have started before. None of them, besides the, mop-up duty that they've gotten between Lincoln and Julian, they haven't seen real snaps. So I do think it's a little bit concerning that Julian is still making some of these inconsistent plays at this point, but he is still very young. And I know you love hearing that Lincoln might have an actual shot at winning this job. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you and get your thoughts about what came out of Saturday.
So I'm not too worried about it. We're a few weeks here into the spring. Ryan Day has, I don't think I'm wrong here. Ryan Day has never called a quarterback battle finish in the spring. Does it pretty late into the fall.
Yeah.
I don't want to say late into the fall, but yeah.
No, but it is in the fall. The last time when there was a quarterback competition, it was late in the fall. It wasn't until 2 games into the actual season where they officially named McCord over Devin Brown.
Mm-hmm. So Julian is saying, Ryan, like along with the quotes you said, she said Julian's still, as a leader, finding his way as a leader, still getting a little bit more comfortable along with the other 2 quarterbacks in there, being Lincoln Kienholz and Tavian St. Clair. But I'm not worried about it. And the reason I'm not is just because it's so early, and you got Julian going out there. First time, maybe a little antsy, maybe a little jittery. Lincoln's been in this situation plenty of times now. Lincoln's grinded Lincoln's grinding for the last 2.5 years now. Okay, he's just grinding. So I'm not surprised by that. Now, when it comes to Lincoln, this is what I've been trying to put out there and they put in the universe. What if it's not so much that Julian is playing bad? It's just that maybe Lincoln has taken a little bit of a step. And that step, man, it may not be as talented as Julian is, but maybe you see something different. Now, I do believe Julian's still going to be the quarterback at the end of the day. I don't expect to see Tavian St. Clair. I don't, like I told you, I don't think Tavian will be quarterback too. I think that Lincoln will still have some edge above him. But I don't think there's anything to worry about for the fans, for anybody. Let's give it some time, man. Let's give it some time.
I agree with you. That's assuming Lincoln doesn't transfer after the spring. This will probably be the last spring transfer portal, and maybe he wants to go find somewhere where he can actually be the starter. So I'm not going to rule that out yet. There's some other things here that Day said that I kind of want to get into.
Okay.
So when they were talking about, you're talking about how inconsistencies is definitely normal for this time of year because, like you said, we're in the middle of spring practice. It's not as pressing because it's not the fall. And, this is more of a growth phase for really everyone on the team. So Day said specifically, right now, I guess I think back to when I was in the NFL. I'd listen to some of these scouts talk and players about players, and then never wanted to show their hands. So they'd make comments like mixed bag to the negative. And that's the way I'd feel coming off the field, talking about coming off the field today. He said this during his press conference. But there's been really good progress in the room, all three of them. I can recognize that there's been growth in all areas. Then there's been other moments where we've had 2 or 3 plays in a row that we all get frustrated. Mm-hmm. But we're going to keep coaching them and keep pushing them. I think they have the right attitude. I think they have a growth mindset, and that they come in every day and put the work in, the preparation in. They just need more and more reps. So we have to give it to them. So, that's a good insight as to what, Day's thinking. When he says there's that 2 or 3 plays in a row that they get frustrated, that's that consistency factor that I mentioned before. And that's something that Day has preached really since he's been the head coach. They need a guy who is going to be consistent in the plays that they put out on the field, keep those mistakes down, consistently make the right play, whether it's taking the home run shot, going over the middle for 10 yards, or just doing the check down. And I think that's kind of the point that they're waiting for. They're waiting for one of these guys to really, take the reins and be that consistent force.
Again, that consistent word, again, like you said, that's something that he has used for the last few years now. It's always going to be his main word. It's about the good plays consistently. He expects CJ Justin Fields level type of throwing. That's what he expects. That's just what it is.
Which should.
Is it an unfair expectation? Maybe so. Maybe because everyone can't be that, but it's the expectation. And the expectation is the expectation. So it is what it is. Also, on top of that, how did you notice when he was saying more reps, how often he kept saying that?
Yeah.
And he said maybe 5 times in a couple 2-second span.
Yeah. No, he did.
It's just now. I truly believe. I want to ask you this: How many of those reps do you think Tavian's actually getting?
Oh, first team reps, not hardly any.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's getting a lot of second and third team reps, which he should. He's learning the offense. He's got 2 guys ahead of him who have been in the offense longer, and they are just trying to. He's still just trying to kind of find his way into being a college athlete too. Like it's a big life adjustment for him. So I'm not concerned at all that he shouldn't be getting first team reps, quite frankly. Now Lincoln and Julian should be splitting them. And I know, you mentioned they just keep saying, get more reps, this, reps, that. They're trying to get these guys as comfortable as possible, because with those reps, they should see that consistency start to tighten up. So, really interested to see how many reps each of those quarterbacks get once the spring game rolls around, because that'll tell me who they think needs to get more reps. Because quite frankly, in my opinion, what I'm going to see in the spring game is whoever is playing the most. That tells me that they need the most work, not who they trust in the most.
Good point.
That's how I'm going to approach the spring game as far as the quarterback position goes. So that's that's my thought on those guys needing more reps.
And I want to answer this. So, Robert, I honestly do agree with you to an extent, because these are the few things I think you can take away from the spring.
Also, I disagree with the notion that Howard didn't look bad all of last spring. He had 1 or 2 not great practices, and they knew what they were getting in Howard.
I think what you learn in the spring is the names. If you're looking for younger names, you're looking for, I think, you should be looking for how the transfers are doing, how they're being acclimated to the team. You want to hear about the quarterbacks, but I will always tell people there's only so much you can take from it, because I will always tell, just so we're always clear, the defense has the drop on the offense in the spring. They see the same plays multiple times in the spring, and it's very dumbed down. And then I would also be looking for depth for positions.
Yep.
So and we're like later in the show, we're going to be doing a early defensive breakdown just of the roster, of the depth chart and roster, just what we're looking for. But yeah, I think those are the few things you can take from the spring.
Yeah, and again, you're looking. The main thing you're also looking for in the spring, personally, is development. Like you want these guys to be getting better, and you want their you also want them to, not make the same mistakes over and over. Like I'm okay with making mistakes just as long as you learn from them. And I think that's kind of also what Day was referencing. Like you don't want to keep making the same bad reads or bad throws if you're a quarterback. Like you want to be able to cut those out. You make those once or twice. Oh, okay, all right. I've seen that happen. Now I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. So overall, I am not worried about it. I still think Sayin's going to be fine. And, unless we come out and in the spring game, all of a sudden he throws 3 or 4 interceptions, then alarm bells might be ringing and then we might actually have a problem. But I still think Sayin is more than likely the starter. And, we'll see how his development goes, not just here in the spring, but also in the off season when he's, does some work with the receivers in the off season, because quite honestly, that's where a lot of quarterback development happens. Is it's not just work with the coaches on the field when they're allotted the specific amount of time from the NCAA. It's in their off time, in the summer when you're not taking classes or you're taking 1 or 2 online classes, like you're able to, hey, let's go over to the practice field. Let's run some routes. Let's get more chemistry here. So that's also where we see a lot of development.
So